The clock struck 1 a.m. at night. Under the full moon stood a man drowned in the darkness of his shadows. Blood dripped his arm, down to his hand until it created a puddle right at his feet. A cigarette stuck between his blood-filled, tattooed fingers, while the other hand held a gun to the head of the Empire's king, whose kingdom he just defeated. John Jungkook took a long drag of the cigarette and let out the smoke in the thin air. Behind him, a huge mansion was drowned in darkness. Blood pooled the ground like some decorations. Screams, gunshots, and the sound of souls leaving the bodies were all that was heard. Jungkook was dominating. He was dressed up in a black suit like a grim reaper personally arriving at your doorstep to execute you. At his feet was Jian, the leader of the Cloud Empire. They excelled in military. Till centuries, no one dared go against them. Their combat powers were exceptional. Until tonight, when the leader was at the feet of the dead, and the amazing warriors already 6 feet under the ground. Jian was extremely bruised. A slash of sword at his chest, a bullet wound in his leg, and blood spilling down his head. Yet he laughed, took the cigarette from Jungkook's hand, and took a long drag of it. Jian, with my military power, for centuries I have dominated the battlegrounds. You are the only exception. Guess it doesn't make it too bad for a loss. JK, you were a great warrior. See you in hell. With that, Jungkook let the man take a last shot of the cigarette before lighting a hole in his head, as he watched the body fall to the ground, meeting its fate. As the gunshot rang, announcing the death of the Empire's leader, the rest of the few warriors of the Cloud Empire left alive lost their will to fight and decided to flee. Not a single one was spared. The sky could as well be raining bullets by the amount of it spilled everywhere, covering the whole ground and bodies alive or dead. JK, take the night to yourselves. Celebrate or sleep away. The victory is ours. He turned and left the army behind him, healed in victory despite the amount of bodies that lay before them lifeless. Upon his arrival at home, he dragged the scent of smoke, gunpowder, and blood with him. His black suit clung to him like a second skin, soaked in crimson. His boots left faint stains with every step. Silence, not the kind of silence he was used to after war. This silence was too still, too strange. He had built his empire brick by brick, painted it red with blood of his enemies, but his home was supposed to be untouched by it all. Then he heard it, a muffled sound, broken, fragile, crying. In that moment, his heart clenched violently in his chest. Before a blink of an eye, the cigarette was left at the door. He was already past the stairs, reaching the upper floor. It was his wife's cry, his baby wife, who never cried before, never even flinched. He made sure of that. He left traces of blood in his trail. As he pushed open the door and rushed inside, he found his wife curled up against the bed. Tears soaked the sheets. She looked smaller than usual. The slight tremor in her body made him lose his mind. He swallowed hard, ran a hand through his hair to calm the volcano ready to burst. He softly took a seat beside Wine, his arms cradled her small body into his arms as he placed a kiss to her head. The blood from his hands painted her white dress into red. That was his obsession. Brought her. The devil against the angel, yet she accepted him fully. Jake, who hurt you? She shook her head, biting her trembling lip, but her silence only poured gasoline into fire already raging inside him. His hands, still stained red, gripped her shoulders gently but firmly. Jake, don't protect anyone. Not from me. Tell me. One, your brother came while you were gone. He wouldn't leave. He cornered me, Jungkook. He said things, touched me. Her words faltered into sobs, and that was all it took. Jungkook's pupils dilated until his eyes looked like more beast than man. His jaw clenched, so hard veins threatened to burst along his temple. Wine, I'm so angry, Jungkook. She looked up, red eyes soaked with tears. That was when Jungkook realized she was not trembling in fear, but in anger. Wine, I want to slap him so badly. I can't believe I stood there like a helpless fool. I couldn't move. She was someone who never ever dreamt of any danger miles around her. That was the kind of protection Jungkook provided her with. But then one day she is faced an evil power no less than her husband, and was cornered into abuse. Who could blame a deer being caught in headlights? Jungkook placed a hand on her cheek, the red from his hand transferring to her soft pale skin. JK, you can do all you want when I bring him to your feet. There was depth in his voice which screamed evil. Did anyone know how many humans he killed today? Still soaked in blood and drowned in adrenaline, he returned home. Not to a warm embrace, but a nightmare more terrifying than the hell itself. Zeke, 15 minutes, baby. He'll be at your feet in your 15 minutes. The full moon spilled its pale light across his face, catching the madness in his eyes. Jaehyun might be his brother, his blood, but Jungkook needed no proof. His voice, words were absolute for him. Within 15 minutes, Jungkook dragged Jaehyun, bruised. His wrists were bound, his mouth twisted into a smirk even though the split lip. Jaehyun was powerful enough to hold his own fortress. If Jungkook tonight hadn't spilled enough blood, he had trespassed his brother's fortress, took down his military, and dragged his brother back to his mansion all within 15 minutes. Yet the sinful night had only started, and the moon was nowhere to set yet. Jaehyun, so this is how it is, Jungkook. Your little dog cries, and suddenly you forget I'm your blood. Jungkook crouched before Jaehyun, tilting his head with a smile that chilled the room. Jae, you're right. You're my blood. That only means I'll make your death slower. Jungkook stepped thunder as he pulled his brother down the hall, up the stairs, leaving streaks of crimson in his trail. Jae, look at him, Angel. I brought the beast for you. Jaehyun groaned, coughing up blood. Jaehyun, she's just a girl. Jungkook, weak, helpless, replaceable. I'm your blood. And then smack! Her hand glided across his face, a sharp crack echoing through the room. Jaehyun's hand snapped to the side, blood flying from his lip, followed by another, and then many more. It wasn't until Jungkook stepped in, softly held her hand in his blood-soaked one, brought it to his lips, and planted a kiss. He didn't surround her with such love to torture herself for a beast like him. One, I'm not weak. I just never imagined someone so filthy could carry the same blood as my husband. Killing you would only taint my hands with your sinful blood. And with that, the Reaper delivered his own blood to death. The soul escaped the body 1 minute, and the next minute he was dragged out the room. He placed her down on the bed and kissed her head. JK, before I taint your little heaven, I'll go wash myself. He refused to let his sin fall on her anymore. He washed himself, changed her clothes, and took her in his embrace. The glow from the fairy lights made her glow. Jungkook could only stare in those eyes he felt so deep for. Vine, you've done a lot today. I'll read you a book. She grabbed a book while Jungkook placed his head on her lap without any complaints. As she began another fictional story of her, which made no sense to him, Jungkook found himself losing in that sweet melodic voice of hers he loved so much. That was his only sanctuary. Alive, surrounded by war, filled with blood, and painted with corruption, she was his salvation.